Good morning. Can I get your attention? Did you have your coffee today? Splendid, splendid. Sorry for the slight delay this morning. We had a bit of technical glitch. So it's a great honor to be in front of you today. My name is Debass. I'm the acting special rep for global partnerships in the Office of the Secretary. I want to welcome you to the 2013 Global Diaspora Forum, the third annual Global Diaspora Forum. Right now, the session is being viewed live online, so those of you who's joining us the forum remotely, whether you're in the office in New York or at your home in Singapore or at a watch party in our embassy, hello, and I welcome you to the 2013 GDF. I'd like to take a moment to thank my colleagues who were your hosts yesterday at USAID, Dr. Moa O'Neill, I'm not sure if she's here or not, Romy Bhatia, where's Romy? All right, great. And the entire IDEA team at USAID, Ricardo Michel, who's here, my colleague. I want to thank them for their support and for their collaboration in making this forum a reality. Also, a special thank you to MPI, who's our knowledge partner, for doing all the hard work on logistics and all other stuff that comes with putting a forum like this. I also like to recognize my state colleagues who made this event, happen quite literally. Connie Jumas, who's right there. When you see her, please give her a hug. And her and Rabia, I think Rabia is somewhere in the back. And the entire team. So without them, this event would not going to happen. We often joke that this room looked like the UN plenary room, as you can see the way you're sitting. And it's got that special feel to it. And as you can imagine, today it is kind of the UN Assembly. We have representatives from over 100 countries of heritage. And while I see a number of familiar faces, for most of you, this is your first time attending the Global Diaspora Forum. And so, welcome, and I hope your experience will inspire you and make you want to host your own forum when you go back to whatever state or country that you come from. We kicked off the forum on Friday with a one-day event in Los Angeles organized by Dr. Raul Hinojosa in UCLA. Is Dr. Raul here? Where's Raul? Him. And our partners, the Mexican American Leadership Initiative. As you all know, over 16% of the US population is Latino, so it was fitting to kick off this event in LA that focused on the Latino community in America. And we are pleased to have linked this forum, obviously, in LA, that brought a group of distinguished speakers and from the US and Central America to discuss regional strategies for learning and engaging and empowering the Latino community in our engagement in Latin America. In Dublin,
we're going to call it now, Look Irish.
And Jerry Dunn with the Irish International Diaspora Centre Trust have partnered with the Irish government to host an European and EU based on a EU-wide gathering of GDF to discuss about how diaspora communities to create jobs and opportunities across Europe and their countries of origin. We wish them the best of luck on their side. They started because of the time difference. They've already beat us to it in terms of kicking off the GDF. And very shortly, we will link up to them with special address from Dublin. Also, highlighting innovation and entrepreneurship in the technology space, we've partnered with the ITLG to have a Global Diaspora Forum, which will kick off today in Silicon Valley, where Silicon Valley is the headquarters of innovation for the world, and it's fitting for us to host an event there where almost 52% of startups in Silicon Valley are founded by foreign-born Americans. So tomorrow, the Global Diaspora Forum in Silicon Valley will kick off, and we know they will have exciting conversations about how innovation could shape diplomacy and development around the world. In addition to these Global Diaspora Forum events that you're participating in, we also had unprecedented interest in our Diasporas at series, which this past Saturday, one of our close friends, Susan Amat, where are you, Susan? Hey, Susan, and Stephen Keppel from Univision hosted a Diasporas at Miami event to focus around how Latin American diasporas in Miami could facilitate trade and investment and innovation in the area. And so it was widely successful. So that's one inspiration that you could take so you could do your own Diasporas at event in the future. I'm told that via live stream that we've got participants in Riga, Vilnius, Manila, Shanghai, Boston, and many more other places logging in to view this forum. So I'd like to give them a shout out to the Mosaic Institute in Toronto for tuning in and hosting a day-long event to explore ways to build a more effective and vibrant network of diasporans across Canada. Clearly, Nielsen will be proud of our ratings today, as we've taken over almost the entire world in terms of discussing how diasporas are important. So we know migration is a phenomenon of our time. There are now over 250 million people living in the world, countries other than the countries that they're born in. And that's bigger than the population of Brazil. So just even in America, we are a country of immigrants, and over 60 million Americans are considered first and second generation diasporas. So it is also fitting for us to discuss why diaspora is important because of that demographics. So diaspora communities are changing the face of international development and diplomacy. They send money home. They are the first responders when it comes to crisis. And they're also the first investors in a very risky markets when others are not willing to go. So it's really it's been an amazing 2 years since our inception here, where USAID and State Department launched the International Diaspora Engagement Alliance, or fittingly called IDEA. And IDEA is a multi-stakeholder platform exemplifying why public-private partnerships are critical in the way forward. From our marketplace, diaspora-driven competitions, to e-mentoring partnerships that we have with Mentor Cloud, and the growing momentum of our science and tech diaspora communities, which is led by Dr. Francis Colon. Are you Francis? She's probably in the back. So all these different engagements that we have with diasporas showcase how versatile and engaged we can be with very active migrant and diaspora communities. So it's a great pleasure to let you know that the USAID and State Department are investing resources to help bring IDEA to the next level. So right now we're trying to put wings to IDEA so it could fly and get a new home to it. And there is currently an RFP, a request for proposals, open for bids to undertake the challenge of bringing IDEA to the next level. So I encourage you to go to www.grants.gov to see if your organizations could be the next home for IDEA. The Global Diaspora Forum obviously is the flagship initiative under IDEA. And the theme of this year is where ideas meet action. And our goal is to share best practices and demonstrate diverse methods of organization and bridge building to encourage the next generation of diasporas to be active. Many of you that have been very involved in this partnership since its inception, and not just as a civil servant here doing my job, but I'm also a member of the diaspora community. I was born in Ethiopia from an Eritrean family, so this issue of diaspora runs deep in my DNA. And it's because of that that I sincerely understand that many of you today are trying to achieve in communities here in the countries of origin that you come from, regardless of whether you are the kid that just arrived in America or the mom and dad who's struggling and trying to make something put together for their families back home. Your creativity and vision for creating sustainable development and diplomacy is well appreciated and regarded and encouraged. So my experience here in my job not only motivates me that diasporas are a pillar of foreign policy, but also it runs in every American vein why our heritage is important in our bridge building around the world. So diaspora engagement is not a once-a-year event that we meet in May or whatever month that we pick to host it. I encourage you to be active year-round in the noble work that you're involved in. So our hope for this gathering is that it will inspire you to return to your communities and unleash the power of your affinity. Now, at the end of the day, diaspora engagement is all about affinity. And that's what I'm going to leave you today with a challenge. Yes, you have work to do. You didn't come here just for the coffee, for the bad coffee, probably, I might add. But I challenge you to make a commitment to action, as our theme is called Where Ideas Meet Action. So we're going to go beyond pontification and talk about how partnerships can lead the way forward. So what I'm going to do at this point is, before we get started, we have a lot of housekeeping notes that I need to share. The first thing is, you see the exits right there, and I'm not asking you to leave right now, but in case of emergency, I'm told that I have to show you. I feel like I'm on a flight right now, telling you where the exits are. Second, the restrooms are in each side of the corner. There are a lot of my colleagues out there who could guide you where our restrooms are. And we do have Twitter, as you see from the Twitter wall, and we do have Wi-Fi, thank God. And so please tweet, tweet, tweet. We're trying to trend, as the word is called, trend on Twitter. So, share your experience and your desires in terms of what you want to get out of it from here. Okay, so on our program, we were supposed to link to Ireland, but unfortunately, I'm told that we're having technical difficulties. So we're going to move on to our next speaker, which we have the pleasure of our Undersecretary here, Bob Hormats for Economic and Environment and Energy Bureau. Mr. Hormats, the microphone is yours.